The sky above the forest of Zorin was strange. Shades of green and gold flickered as sunlight pierced through the thick canopy. Birds with shimmering feathers sang in soft notes that sounded almost like music. The ground was soft with moss, and every step made the faintest echo. In this forest, danger and beauty lived together, as if one could not exist without the other. Lorin, a human warrior, moved carefully among the trees. His armor was light but strong, built to protect him without slowing him down. He held a spear in his right hand, and his eyes scanned the surroundings constantly. Humans were not common on Zorin. Most of its creatures and inhabitants looked at humans with curiosity, fear, or sometimes hatred. Lorin knew he had to be careful, but he also knew he could not show fear. Fear could be deadly here. He had been sent on a mission to explore this planet, not to fight anyone. But survival was always part of exploration. Lorin had faced difficult worlds before, but something about Zorin felt different. He could sense the forest watching him, as if the trees themselves were alive. The air smelled sweet with a hint of danger mixed in. A sudden rustle made Lorin freeze. From behind a giant tree, a shadow moved with extraordinary speed. Before he could react fully, a creature lunged at him. It had 4 legs, sharp claws, and glowing eyes that reflected the sunlight. Lorin rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack, and thrust his spear forward. The creature hissed and retreated, leaving only faint claw marks on a nearby rock. Lorin breathed heavily. This was only the beginning. He knew Zorin's forest had predators, some small, some enormous, and some that could move faster than the eye could follow. He had to stay alert. He continued walking, moving silently. Suddenly, he heard another sound. Unlike the creatures, this sound was different. It was the faint crunch of footsteps, deliberate and controlled, not hurried like an animal's. Lorin's instincts told him he was not alone, and this time, the presence felt intelligent. Through a clearing, he saw her. Vela, an alien huntress, stood there. Her skin had a soft blue shade, and her eyes were dark and sharp. She held a curved blade in her hand and watched him carefully. Her stance was calm but powerful, like a predator ready to strike at any moment. Lorin lowered his spear slightly but did not step back. "I come in peace," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "I am only exploring." Vela's lips curved in a small, skeptical smile. "Humans are rarely peaceful here," she said. Her voice was melodic, but it carried a hint of danger. "Few survive this forest. Fewer survive me." Lorin studied her carefully. He noticed the scars on her arms and legs. They were marks of battle she had fought and won. This was not just a hunter. She was a warrior of her people. Still, Lorin did not flinch. He knew humans had something different, something unpredictable that even the strongest aliens did not expect. Suddenly, the forest seemed to shift. From the shadows, more creatures emerged. Their eyes glowed red, and they moved toward the clearing where Lorin and Vela stood. Both of them noticed the threat at the same time. Lorin took a deep breath, adjusting his grip on his spear. Vela tightened her stance, blade ready. The creatures attacked together, moving as one. Vela leapt forward with grace, slashing through one with her blade. Lorin thrust his spear, taking another down with precision. They moved in perfect rhythm, neither speaking yet understanding each other instinctively. After what felt like minutes but could have been hours, the last creature fell. The clearing was silent again, except for the soft wind and the sound of their heavy breathing. Lorin lowered his spear, looking at Vela. "You are skilled," he said. "Stronger than most here." Vela studied him. She could see it now. The human strength was not only in his body but in his mind. His movements were clever, not reckless. His eyes held confidence and intelligence. "You survived because you are clever," she said softly. "Not many could do what you just did." Lorin nodded. "I learn fast. I adapt faster." Vela looked at him longer, curiosity and caution mixed in her gaze. "Perhaps you are different," she whispered. "Perhaps humans are not as weak as my people think." For the first time, Lorin felt a shift in the balance of power. This alien huntress, feared by all her kind, was thinking about him differently. Respect, not fear. This was rare, but the forest was not done testing them. From above, a shadow passed over the clearing. A giant winged predator circled them, its eyes fixed on the human. Vela growled under her breath. "Stay close," she said. Lorin nodded. The battle was about to begin again, and both knew only one thing for certain. In this forest, survival was earned, not given. Lorin tightened his grip on his spear, ready for whatever came next. Vela readied her blade, her body coiled like a spring. And as the predator dove toward them, Lauren's mind raced, planning, calculating, and preparing to prove that humans, even far from home, could survive anything. In that moment, in the heart of Zoran's forest, human courage met alien skill, and both warriors realized that neither had met an opponent like the other before. The forest was quiet now, but the silence carried a weight heavier than any noise. Lauren and Vela stood a short distance apart, their breathing still steadying after the attack. Both knew that the dangers of Zoran were not yet over, yet a strange tension hung in the air. It was not fear of the forest or its predators, but a sense of destiny, as if something was about to change between them. Vela's eyes never left Lauren. She studied him carefully, noting the way he held himself, the calm in his gaze, the strength in his posture. He was unlike any human she had encountered. Humans were considered fragile and unpredictable by most of her people. Their history on this planet was mostly tales of defeat and failure. Yet here stood Lauren, surviving what would have killed many of her kind. "You are strong," Vela said quietly, her voice almost lost in the rustling leaves. "Stronger than I expected." Lauren nodded, lowering his spear slowly. "Strength is not enough," he said. "Intelligence matters more. Planning matters more. And courage matters more than either." Vela considered his words. Humans often spoke boldly, but Lauren's confidence felt different. It was not arrogance. It was truth. That truth was dangerous, and yet it intrigued her. "You fight differently," she said, stepping closer. Her movements were careful, precise, controlled. "Most of your kind is clumsy. You are clever. You survive where others fail. That makes you rare." Lauren relaxed slightly. He had faced many warriors before, both human and alien. But this recognition from someone like Vela felt new. He did not smile, but a small spark of acknowledgement passed between them. Suddenly, Vela's expression changed. Her eyes narrowed, and she took a deep breath. "I must follow the tradition," she said almost to herself. "It is time for the blood ritual." Lauren froze slightly. He had heard of alien blood rituals on other worlds, but they were often symbolic. On Zoran, it was more than symbolism. It was power. Drinking the blood of a worthy opponent granted the drinker insight into strength, strategy, and sometimes even the spirit of the one they drank. It was a dangerous act, and few survived it willingly. "You want to drink my blood?" Lauren asked calmly. He did not step back, but his mind began racing. Humans were strong, but the effects of alien rituals were unpredictable. "I will not resist," he added. "But know this, I am not what you expect." Vela's lips curved into a small, almost imperceptible smile. "That is why you are chosen," she said. Her voice was low, melodic, carrying both warning and fascination. With careful movements, she prepared the ritual. A small knife appeared in her hand, not sharp for killing, but for drawing a precise amount of blood. Lauren's arm was steady as she cut lightly. He felt the sting but did not flinch. He had endured worse wounds in his life. Vela brought the blood close to her lips and drank. The first taste was sharp, metallic, and alive. It was unlike any human blood she had tasted before. And then the visions came. Her mind filled with flashes, images of Lauren's life, his battles, his triumphs, his failures, his thoughts. She saw him fighting in harsh terrains, surviving traps that would have killed anyone else, facing enemies with courage and cleverness. She felt his determination, his refusal to surrender, his unyielding spirit. Vela staggered back slightly, her eyes wide. The visions were overwhelming. They showed her a power she had never imagined. Human resilience, human ingenuity, human unpredictability. Every movement he made, every decision, every small detail of his life was a lesson in survival. "You," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "You are my doom." Lauren's eyes widened slightly. He had expected respect, curiosity, even fear, but this statement carried something else. It was both a warning and an acknowledgement. Vela, the alien huntress, the warrior of her people, recognized that humans were not to be underestimated. "Explain," Lauren said calmly. His mind was quick, assessing her reaction, predicting her next move. Humans had a history of turning disadvantage into advantage, and he would use it now if needed. Vela shook her head, still trying to process the visions. "Your blood. It shows more than strength. It shows your mind, your will, your courage. You are unstoppable in ways I cannot fight alone. Your kind is dangerous. You are different from all humans I have ever studied." Lauren nodded slowly. "That is the point. We adapt, we learn, we survive. We find ways that others cannot see. That is human nature. For the first time, Vela looked at Lauren not as an enemy or a challenge, but as a being whose very existence posed a question to everything she believed about strength and survival. Her species had always relied on power, tradition, and control. Humans relied on something else entirely, something that could not be measured in strength or skill alone. "Why did you survive the forest?" she asked, her tone curious, almost cautious. "You should have fallen like the others. The predators, the dangers, all would have claimed you." Lauren smiled faintly. "I do not survive by strength alone. I watch, I listen, I learn. I use what is around me. And when danger comes, I do not panic. Fear is a weapon for those who lack courage. Courage is a weapon for those who choose to act." Vela's gaze softened slightly. She had seen many warriors, many humans, many species. None had ever spoken with such certainty, and now drinking his blood had revealed that the certainty was backed by truth. "You are unlike any being I have faced," she admitted, stepping closer. "Your mind, your spirit. It is powerful in ways I do not understand. I am supposed to be your judge, your superior in battle, but I see now that humans are something different." Lauren nodded, lowering his weapon fully. "I do not seek superiority. I seek survival, understanding, and sometimes to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what humans do. That is who we are." Vela looked at him long and hard. She could feel the weight of the words, and she could feel the truth in them. She knew that this human warrior could change the balance of power on her planet. His existence alone was a challenge to every rule, every tradition, every belief her people held. "You may not know it yet," she said softly, "but humans are capable of more than anyone dares to imagine. You could reshape this world, or destroy it. I drank your blood, and now I see that. You are my doom." Lauren did not respond immediately. He understood her words, but he also understood the responsibility they carried. Humans were resilient, clever, and unpredictable. But humans were also moral, capable of choice. He would survive, but he would not use his strength to harm unnecessarily. He would prove that courage and intelligence could lead not only to survival, but to respect and understanding across worlds. Vela stepped back slightly, regaining her composure. The ritual was complete, but its effects lingered. She had tasted human blood and seen human strength, and it had changed her perception forever. Lauren was no ordinary human, and now neither she nor her people could underestimate him again. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath. The predators had gone, at least for now, but the challenge was only beginning. Lauren had survived the first trial, not just against the forest, but against the alien warrior herself. And Vela had discovered something she had never expected. A warrior whose strength was not measured in muscle or weapon alone, but in mind, courage, and will. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Lauren and Vela stood in silence. Neither spoke, but both knew that their fates were now connected. The blood ritual had revealed the truth. Humans were a force the galaxy had never truly understood, and Lauren was living proof. For Vela, the realization was both terrifying and fascinating. The human before her was not just a warrior. He was a challenge to everything she had known, and the words she had whispered, trembling yet certain, echoed in her mind. "You are my doom, human." Lauren, unaware of the full weight of her words, prepared himself for the next part of the journey. The forest was vast, full of dangers, mysteries, and opportunities. But now he knew something more. Intelligence, courage, and determination were weapons no alien could predict. And in that knowledge lay the true power of humanity. The forest of Zoran was alive with shadows and whispers. Lauren moved carefully through the dense undergrowth, his eyes scanning every movement, his senses alert to the faintest sound. Vela walked beside him, silent, but her presence was powerful. The blood ritual had changed everything between them. She no longer saw him as a simple human. She had tasted his blood and seen the strength of his mind, courage, and will. He was dangerous, unpredictable, and extraordinary. But Lauren was not unafraid. He understood that Vela's people were proud and loyal. They would not accept her fascination with a human lightly. Her people were fierce warriors, skilled in combat and tradition. The moment they discovered that she had allied, even partially, with a human, trouble would follow. Lauren knew the path ahead was not only through the forest, but through the complex politics of an alien society that valued power above all else. The sun was low, casting long golden shadows through the trees. Lauren had learned to read the forest in subtle ways. The tilt of a branch, the marks of a predator, the faint trail of another being. He was skilled, yes, but the challenge ahead was greater than any hunt or battle he had faced. "You have survived more than I thought possible," Vela said quietly. "The predators, the forest, most humans would have fallen." Lauren smiled faintly. "It is not about strength alone. It is about observation, learning, and choosing the right moment. Fear is useful only when it teaches caution, not when it paralyzes. Courage is more than bravery. It is understanding what must be done and doing it anyway." Vela nodded, but her expression grew serious. "Your mind is extraordinary. That is why I said it. You are my doom. Not because you are a threat to me alone, but because you could change everything for my people, for this forest, and for the world." Lauren's eyes narrowed slightly. "I do not seek to destroy. I seek to survive, to understand, and sometimes to protect. But I cannot hide who I am or what I am capable of. Humans have always adapted, even in impossible circumstances." Vela glanced at him with respect, though her worry was evident. "You must be careful. My people do not forgive easily. They see loyalty as absolute. If they discover that I have shown favor toward you, it will not end well. They may try to eliminate you." Lauren's mind began working quickly. He had faced overwhelming odds before. Strategy, quick thinking, and adaptability were human strengths. "Then we must prepare," he said. "I do not intend to be caught unawares." As they moved deeper into the forest, the sounds of life surrounded them. Birds calling, the rustle of small creatures, the distant roar of larger predators. Lauren noticed the subtle trails left by the forest's inhabitants and began marking their path with small natural indicators. Every movement, every choice was deliberate. Humans survived by noticing what others ignored. Suddenly, a sound reached them, a low rhythmic chant carried by the wind. Vela's eyes narrowed. "That is the call of my people. They have discovered the clearing. They know of your presence." Lauren's hand went to his spear. "Are they hostile?" "Perhaps," Vela said, her voice tense. "Many will see this as a betrayal. A human surviving among us is dangerous enough. A human whom I have acknowledged. It will not be accepted. Some will seek to kill you immediately." Lauren studied her carefully. He could sense the tension in her body, the subtle way her muscles tensed, the flicker of fear in her eyes. She was powerful, skilled, and intelligent, but even she could not fight all of her people at once. Lauren's human ingenuity would have to become their greatest weapon. As they moved closer to the source of the chant, the forest opened into a large clearing. Dozens of alien warriors stood there, their eyes sharp, weapons ready. Their expressions were a mixture of curiosity, anger, and disbelief. At their center was Vela's elder, a tall figure with armor decorated in patterns of silver and gold, radiating authority and power. "Vela," the elder called, his voice commanding, "you have brought a human into our sacred forest. Explain yourself." Vela stepped forward, holding her blade but not raising it in threat. "Elder," she said firmly, "he is not an enemy. He has survived the forest, defeated the predators, and shown skills no human or alien has demonstrated. He is remarkable." The elder's eyes narrowed. "Remarkable?" he said sharply. "He is a human. Humans are weak, unpredictable, and dangerous. You have risked everything by acknowledging him. Do you not understand the consequences?" Lauren stepped forward slowly, hands visible to show no threat. "I mean no harm," he said clearly. "I have only survived the forest. I respect your people, your traditions, and your strength. I am here to learn, not to fight. But I will defend myself if threatened, as all humans do." The elder's gaze shifted to Lauren. He studied the human carefully, noting his stance, his calm expression, and the steady confidence in his eyes. Few humans had ever survived so long in the forest, and none had ever spoken with such clarity and courage. "You speak boldly for a human," the elder said. "Your words are not empty, but words alone do not protect you here. Actions will decide your fate." Lauren nodded. "Then judge me by my actions," he said. "I will show you what humans can endure and achieve." The tension in the clearing was thick. The warriors whispered among themselves, questioning Vela's judgment, doubting the human's ability, and debating whether to strike. Lauren could feel their focus, their suspicion, but he did not falter. Humans thrived under pressure. When others expected them to fail, they adapted. When others prepared to strike, they anticipated. Vela stepped closer to Lauren. "Do not underestimate them," she warned. "Many will challenge you, some by force, some by cunning. You must prove your worth not by brute strength alone, but by strategy, intelligence, and willpower." Lauren considered her words carefully. His mind began mapping possibilities, calculating risks, and anticipating reactions. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and had always survived through adaptation and clever thinking. This challenge would be no different. The elder raised his hand. "We will test the human," he said. "If he survives the trials, he may stay in the forest. If he fails, he will be removed." Let the test begin. The warriors moved in unison, circling Lauren. Their weapons were ready, their expressions fierce. The first trial was not one of strength alone, but of strategy. Lauren noticed small gaps in their formation, places where movement was possible without being struck. He adjusted his position, anticipating their attacks, staying calm. The warriors lunged simultaneously, but Lauren moved with precision, deflecting, dodging, and countering. He used the environment to his advantage, stepping behind trees, sliding down slopes, and creating small obstacles that slowed the attackers. His human ingenuity allowed him to turn the trial into an opportunity. Vela watched in amazement. His movements were not merely defensive. They were calculated, clever, and unpredictable. Each step, each choice, each dodge demonstrated the kind of intelligence that her people had never expected from a human. The trial continued for hours. The warriors tested every skill Lauren possessed: strength, speed, endurance, and strategy. Yet he adapted to each challenge, demonstrating not only survival, but mastery over situations that would have overwhelmed others. Finally, the elder lowered his weapon slightly. "You are unlike any human we have known," he said. "Your courage, intelligence, and skill are exceptional. You survive where others fail." Perhaps Vela's judgment was correct. "Perhaps you are worthy." Lauren nodded, exhausted but focused. "I do not seek approval," he said. "I only seek to survive and to prove that humans are capable of more than anyone expects." The warriors exchanged glances, some still wary, but all beginning to recognize the truth. Human determination, combined with clever thinking and adaptability, could overcome challenges even the most skilled alien could not predict. Vela stepped forward and placed a hand on Lauren's shoulder. "You have survived the first trial," she said softly. "But there will be more. My people are proud, strong, and cautious. You will face tests of loyalty, intelligence, and courage that may challenge everything you know. Are you ready?" Lauren's eyes met hers. "I am ready," he said. "Humans survive because we adapt. We learn, we endure, and we never give up. That is who we are." The forest seemed to breathe around them, acknowledging the statement. The trials were not over, but Lauren had already proven something greater than skill. He had shown that human resilience, intelligence, and courage could earn respect, even among a species that doubted them. Vela looked at him with a mixture of awe and worry. She had seen his potential, and she knew that humans were not to be underestimated. "You are indeed my doom," she whispered once more, a mixture of fear, respect, and fascination in her voice. The elder stepped forward again. "Rest now, human," he said, "but know that your journey has only begun. The forest, my people, and even the world beyond will challenge you in ways you cannot yet imagine." Lauren nodded, feeling both exhaustion and determination. The rising conflict with Vela's people had begun, but he knew humans were built for challenges. Where others saw obstacles, he saw opportunities. Where others saw danger, he saw possibilities. And in that knowledge lay the true strength of humanity. As night fell over the forest, the trials of Zoran were far from over. But Lauren had already proven one undeniable truth. Human ingenuity, courage, and determination could defy expectation and change the course of fate. The night on Zoran was bright with 2 moons that hung like silver shields in the sky. The forest shimmered under their light, every leaf glowing faintly as if touched by starlight. Lauren sat near a small campfire, his thoughts steady but sharp. Across from him sat Vela, silent, watching the flames rise and fall. Around them the forest seemed peaceful, but both knew it was only resting before the next storm. The first trial was over, yet it had changed everything. The alien warriors no longer looked at Lauren as prey. They now studied him with a strange mix of respect and fear. A human had done what few others could. He had survived their tests, outsmarted their warriors and proven that human adaptability was as dangerous as any weapon. Vela finally spoke. You made them question everything they believe. For ages, we thought humans were reckless beings who relied only on luck, but now they have seen what human intelligence can do. Lauren looked at the flames, his face calm. Luck has nothing to do with it. Humans survive because we use our minds. We learn, we build, we imagine. That is our strength. Vela nodded slowly. You speak like a leader. But here, leaders are made through strength, not words. The Elder will not let this end. He sees you as a threat to our order. I expected that, Lauren said. Fear is a natural reaction to something new. But fear can also lead to change. Before Vela could answer, a soft humming filled the air. The ground vibrated faintly beneath them. Lauren's eyes lifted to the sky. Shapes moved between the moons, metallic, sleek, and fast. Drones. They glowed with faint blue light circling above the forest canopy. Vela's face grew tense. They are searching. The Elders have sent them. They do not want witnesses. If they cannot control the story, they will erase it. Lauren stood, eyes fixed on the machines. Then we move. They ran through the forest, moving quietly but fast. The glowing eyes of the drones swept across the trees, scanning for heat signatures. Lauren and Vela slipped behind thick trunks, crawling through shadowed undergrowth. Lauren studied the drones carefully. Their movement patterns were precise, predictable, controlled by logic. Machines follow order, Lauren whispered. They don't adapt like living beings do. You think you can stop them? Vela asked, half curious, half doubtful. Not stop, Lauren said, eyes narrowing. Redirect. They reached an abandoned outpost, a small structure of metal half buried in the earth. Its panels were rusted, but inside lay fragments of old alien technology. Lauren's hands moved quickly. He examined the circuits, the wires, the core of the machinery. It was different from human tech, but followed the same basic principles. Energy, signal, command, response. Vela watched him work, her surprise growing with every movement. You understand this so quickly. It would take one of us weeks to learn what you are doing. Lauren smiled faintly. Humans learn by breaking rules. We try, fail, and try again until something works. The path matters less than the result. Within minutes, Lauren connected several broken panels, rerouting energy through a power cell he had carried in his armor. A low hum filled the air again, but this time from the outpost itself. The broken transmitter flickered to life, and the blue lights of the drones above changed direction, drawn toward the false signal. They will think we are over there, Lauren said. Pointing toward the far ridge, Vela blinked in surprise. You fooled their sensors. Not fooled, Lauren corrected. I gave them something more interesting to chase. The drones vanished into the distance, their lights fading between the trees. The forest fell quiet again. Vela looked at Lauren with something close to awe. You use technology like it's part of your mind. We study for years to control systems like these. Lauren shrugged lightly. Machines obey logic. Humans understand chaos. That's why we always find a way. They moved deeper into the forest, reaching a high cliff that overlooked a wide valley. The view was breathtaking. Rivers glowing under the twin moons, distant mountains sparkling with crystals. And in the center, the great alien city of the Varn, shining like a nest of stars. But even from here, Lauren could sense the tension. The city's lights flickered in patterns that spoke of preparation. The Varn were mobilizing. They are ready for war, Vela said softly. The Council will not let your presence spread. They believe your survival weakens their authority. They fear what you represent, Lauren nodded. Fear of the unknown has started every conflict in history. Vela turned to him. If they attack, you cannot fight them all. I do not need to, Lauren replied. I only need to make them see what humans are truly capable of. That night, as they rested beneath the stars, Lauren gathered materials from the forest. Metal shards, vine fibers, mineral stones. Vela watched, puzzled, as he crafted small devices by hand. What are these? She asked. Traps, Lauren said simply. Not to kill, but to teach. Sometimes the best way to win a battle is to change how your enemy thinks. When dawn came, the attack began. A wave of Varn soldiers entered the forest, their armor reflecting light, their weapons humming softly. They moved in perfect formation, confident in their numbers and discipline. Lauren waited, calm, patient, prepared. The first trap triggered. A blast of light erupted from the ground, not deadly but blinding. The second trap released thick smoke, spreading confusion. The third activated a sound pulse that mimicked predator calls from the forest. Within minutes, the Varn formation broke apart. Their perfect order turned into chaos. From the shadows, Lauren and Vela moved silently, avoiding direct confrontation. Every trap, every plan, every movement had a purpose. Lauren's mind worked like a map, anticipating, adjusting, creating opportunities. He used the terrain, the noise, and even fear itself as tools. The Varn commander shouted orders, trying to restore control. But Lauren's strategy had already shifted the balance. What they saw as confusion, he saw as victory. Humans thrived in unpredictability. Aliens faltered under it. Vela could barely believe what she witnessed. "You are turning the forest itself into a weapon," she said as they moved between the trees. "It was already a weapon," Lauren replied. "I just gave it direction." When the dust settled, the Varn forces withdrew, not defeated in blood, but defeated in mind. Their perfect order had been broken by a single human who fought with ideas instead of strength. The forest fell silent again, the air thick with disbelief. Later, in the aftermath, Vela faced her people's council. The elders demanded answers, their voices sharp and angry. "You defend a human who tricked our forces," one shouted. "He humiliated the Varn with tricks and smoke." Vela stood tall. "He fought without killing. He used wisdom, not destruction. He showed what courage and intelligence can achieve. If that is humiliation, then perhaps it is we who must learn." The elder glared. "You sound as if you have taken his side." "I have taken the side of truth," Vela said. "You call humans weak, but they are strong in ways we cannot understand. His mind defeated an army. His courage shamed our fear. He is not an enemy. He is a mirror that shows us what we could become if we were brave enough." Outside the council hall, Lauren waited, listening quietly. He knew his actions had made him both a threat and a symbol. The Varn might never fully trust him, but they could never again ignore the truth of what humans were capable of. When Vela finally stepped out, her expression was calm but firm. "The council is divided," she said. "Some wish to drive you away. Others wish to learn from you. You have changed more than you know." Lauren looked toward the horizon where the twin moons touched the mountains. "Change always begins with fear," he said softly. "But fear can become understanding, and understanding can become peace. That is what humans have learned through every struggle." Vela studied him for a long moment. "You are still my doom," she said, half smiling, half serious. "Because you destroy everything I thought I knew. You show me that strength is not in power alone, but in thought, in courage, in choice." Lauren smiled faintly. "Then perhaps your doom is not the end, but the beginning." The wind moved gently through the trees. The forest seemed alive again, not as a place of danger, but as a witness to transformation. The human and the alien stood side by side, two warriors from different worlds bound by respect, trust, and something deeper. A shared belief that survival was more than conquest. Above them, the sky glowed brighter, the stars like silent watchers. The conflict had not ended, but the balance had shifted. One human had changed the story of a world not through power or blood, but through mind, heart, and will. And somewhere deep within the forest, the echo of Vela's whisper lingered, "You are my doom." Human not as a curse, but as an awakening. The two moons were setting when the warning lights of the alien city began to flash. The Varn were gathering for what they called the final trial. Every great conflict in their history had ended with such a moment when truth and power met before the eyes of all. This time that truth was a human named Lauren. The air shimmered with tension. Vela walked beside Lauren through the long path that led to the central arena. The structure stood like a giant ring of crystal and steel, glowing with pale blue energy. Thousands of Varn had gathered to witness what would come next. Some shouted for vengeance, others whispered of change. The sound rose and fell like a living wave. Vela's armor gleamed faintly in the dawn light. "They will not listen to reason," she said quietly. "If you win, they will call it trickery. If you lose, they will say humans were never worthy." Lauren smiled softly. "Then we make this more than a fight. We make it a lesson." Vela stopped, turning to face him. "You do not have to do this alone." "I must," he replied. "But I do not fight against your people. I fight for what we could become together." The arena doors opened. Lauren stepped inside. The crowd's roar filled the air like thunder. Across the field stood the High Commander, a tall Varn warrior covered in silver armor, holding a spear that glowed with bright plasma. His eyes burned with fierce pride. "Human," the commander called. You come here speaking of unity and peace, yet your presence brings only conflict. Show us your strength or fall silent forever. Lauren's voice carried clearly across the field. Strength is not in weapons or fear. It is in courage and thought, in the will to change. The commander raised his spear. Then let us see your courage. The signal rang and the duel began. The commander moved first, striking with incredible speed. His spear cut through the air like lightning. Lauren rolled aside, his boots sliding on the smooth stone. The energy blade missed him by inches. He countered with quick steps, using every bit of his training and instinct. He could not match the alien's power, but he could outthink him. The commander attacked again, aiming for Lauren's chest. Lauren used the momentum of the strike to turn. Grabbing a fallen fragment of crystal from the ground, he struck the spear's handle at the right angle, sending a jolt of energy back into the weapon. Sparks flew and the commander stumbled slightly. The crowd gasped. No one had ever seen such precision from a human. Lauren's mind worked faster than fear. Every move was a calculation, every breath a plan. He remembered the forest, the drones, the traps, the logic that had saved them before. He was not the strongest fighter, but he was the most adaptive. Vela watched from the edge, her hands tense. She could see that Lauren fought differently than any being she had ever known. He read his opponent like an open book, learning with each movement. It was like watching evolution itself in motion. The commander roared and unleashed a surge of energy. The ground shook as plasma struck the arena floor. Lauren jumped back, but not far enough. The shockwave threw him to the ground. His armor cracked and pain shot through his side. The crowd cheered, thinking it was over. The commander raised his weapon for the final blow. Then Lauren did something none expected. He dropped his own weapon. The crowd fell silent. Even the commander paused. "You do not understand, do you?" Lauren said, his voice steady despite the pain. "You think strength means control, but real strength is the power to stop when destruction no longer serves life." The commander hesitated. "You would stand unarmed?" "I would stand for something greater than victory," Lauren said. "If I fall here, you may win this fight, but you will lose the chance to learn what makes humans endure." For a moment, the commander's expression changed. Pride and confusion fought within him. Around them, the crowd began to murmur. Some shouted for the fight to continue, others for it to end. The tension rippled like fire through dry grass. Vela could not remain still. She stepped forward, shouting across the arena. "Enough. This battle is not between enemies, it is between fear and understanding. He has already won by showing what it means to be more than what we were taught." The commander turned toward her voice. In that moment of distraction, the arena floor began to tremble again, but not from battle. The ground itself was reacting. The ancient power source beneath the city had awakened, disturbed by the energy of the duel. Cracks of blue light spread across the floor. "The core is unstable," Vela shouted. "The energy is breaking free." Lauren looked around, realizing the danger. "If it overloads, the entire city will be destroyed." The commander lowered his weapon, alarm replacing pride. "It cannot be stopped. The systems are too old." Lauren's mind raced. Maybe not stopped, but redirected. He ran to the center console where glowing panels pulsed wildly. He began pressing symbols, tracing energy paths. Vela joined him, her fingers moving beside his. "You cannot do this alone," she said. "Then help me," he replied. Together, human and alien worked side by side, their hands moving in harmony. The system resisted at first, but Lauren's quick mind and Vela's knowledge began to synchronize. Sparks flew around them, heat rising as energy flooded the chamber. The commander watched, speechless, as the two beings his world had tried to divide now fought together to save it. Lauren found the main channel and shouted, "We can vent the excess power through the outer towers, but we'll need to open the gates manually." "I will do it," Vela said and ran toward the outer ring. Lauren stayed at the console, guiding the flow. The lights flickered, growing brighter and brighter. The sound was deafening. He could feel the vibration in his bones. The structure was seconds from breaking apart. Vela reached the gate controls, slamming her hands onto the manual release. The heavy locks groaned but did not move. She pushed harder, her voice echoing across the chamber. "It is stuck. Use the override," Lauren called. "Blue switch, then silver lever." She followed his words, and the massive gates opened with a deep rumble. A beam of pure light shot upward into the sky, carrying the unstable energy out into space. The ground stopped shaking. The noise faded. Silence filled the arena again. Smoke drifted through the air. The city still stood. The crowd stared in awe. They had seen two beings from different worlds save them when no one else could. The High Commander looked at Lauren, his eyes softer now. You risked your life to protect a city that tried to destroy you. Lauren smiled faintly. Because life is worth saving no matter who it belongs to. Vela walked back toward him, her armor scorched, her face tired but calm. She looked at the human who had changed everything. You have done what no warrior ever could. You turned battle into understanding. He shook his head. We did it together. The commander bowed his head slightly, a gesture of deep respect. Perhaps the human way is not weakness. Perhaps it is wisdom. The crowd began to cheer, not in rage this time, but in hope. For the first time, the Varn saw not a stranger, but a teacher among them. Later, as the suns began to rise, Lauren and Vela stood on the city's high terrace. The sky burned gold and crimson, light spreading across the land. The air was quiet except for the soft hum of the repaired systems below. Vela looked at the horizon. Your people will hear of this. They will know that a human stood among the stars and changed the fate of another world. Lauren looked at her. And your people will know that an alien saw beyond fear and reached for something better. She smiled gently. You are still my doom, human, he laughed softly. And you are my awakening. They stood together as the first light of day touched their faces. Around them, the city began to rebuild. The council announced a new alliance, one not based on conquest but on cooperation. Humans and Varn would share knowledge, ideas, and dreams. In time, songs were written of the day the human warrior and the alien guardian saved Zoran. Children of both species grew up hearing their names, not as symbols of division but of unity. Lauren stayed among the Varn for many seasons, teaching and learning, exploring the stars with Vela by his side. They discovered that the universe was not meant to be conquered but understood. Every world, every being, every story was a piece of a larger truth. And whenever the two moons rose above the forest, Vela would sometimes whisper the same words she once spoke long ago, her voice soft and full of meaning. You are my doom, human. Lauren would answer with a quiet smile. Then let our doom be the start of peace. The stars above shimmered like endless eyes watching over them. The war that almost was had become a legend. A single human had changed a world not through power or dominance but through courage, mind, and heart. The universe would never be the same again. End of story.